Where is it?
You looking for something in particular?
My diary.
You never told me about it.
Yeah. With the way Marianne was, I tried extra hard to keep it a secret. Marianne. Yeah, that day she found out about it.
Oh, she found out about the fact that he wanted to be a transgender. I think.
Mom? Mom! Mom, where is it? What did you do with it?
His diary?
What now?
I can't find my diary. I know you stole it. Give it back.
Sweetie, whatever I do, it's just for your benefit.
You read it, didn't you? You had no right to do that.
I have the right to do whatever I need to protect my little girl.
I'm not your girl. I hate you.
You will always be my little girl. And no matter how hard you fight me, I'll fight twice as hard to keep you safe.
Oh. Poor thing. Poor thing.
I don't know how I never saw it coming. She told me right to my face. She was willing to hurt me, to keep me from transitioning.
Wow. Wow.
Tyler, there is no way you could have known she'd go that far.
Wow.
I want my diary back. Her room was the only place I didn't look.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you need to get it, like, now?
That diary was important to me, Alyson. Writing down my thoughts helped me realize who I am.
Wow.
Well, then let's go find it.
You think her room is still locked?
Wow.
It always was. I'm not looking forward to going in there.
I know, but we'll have to eventually, and I need it back.
What a surprise that the plot demands us to go over to Marianne's room. Huh. Yeah, that was really tough to watch. As someone who had to come out to his parents and having them not take the news very well, I certainly feel for Tyler, 100%. What I don't understand is what would lead any parent to do what their mom did? Because I've always been the kind of person who tries very hard to put myself in the shoes of the other person, especially those that I disagreed with. And a big part of that is because in order to try to get somebody to understand your side of the story, in order to help bring someone closer to your side, one of the best ways you can do that is by putting yourself in their shoes and trying to understand what their thought process is and why they are, thinking the way they're thinking and thus behaving the way that they're behaving. And it really helped me a lot when I first came out, well, all through, like, coming out to my parents and dealing with the aftermath of coming out to my parents, because they really struggled a lot. And it's very easy to just be angry at them. It's very easy to stop talking to them, not want to associate with them because of the fact that, you guys just clash and disagree on this so much. And it's very easy to paint them as the villains. And again, without getting into their mom yet, I'm not, separating their mom and what their mom did, because I certainly don't condone that. but I'm just saying in general, like one of the best things you can do is to try to find some common ground. If you're able to say, I agree with you in this one point, or I understand what you're saying about this one point, instead of completely dismissing everything that they say, that gives you more credibility, and that makes it so much easier for them to listen to you, and because they know that you're not just completely like shutting down everything that they say, regardless of whether or not it makes some semblance of sense, or regardless of whether or not there is some aspect of it that you actually do agree with. So trying to find that, trying to, you might not be able to meet halfway, but trying to meet them some of the way is going to help you in the long run to try to win them over. You might not be able to completely, but at minimum, it at least gets the conversation going. And one of the things that my mom told me that helped when she finally did come around was the fact that I was so patient and that I was willing to see her side of things. Because in general, I think that parents try super hard to do what they can, like, to protect their children and to do what they believe is best for them. And like, I would love to believe that, being a parent is hard, and being a parent, you don't know what to do half the time, and you're just figuring it out, and you're just stumbling your way through it. I'm sure that's how I'm going to be as my child grows up, especially when my children gets into their teen years and beyond. So, parents are not perfect. They'll make mistakes. They'll make wrong calls. But I'd like to believe, if they're, fortunate enough, knock on wood, that as parents, the vast majority of times, they'll be, correct when they are trying to do certain things for the protection of their children, for their own good, even though the child may not actually think it's actually for their own good, or that's actually protecting them in the long run. So I'd like to believe most of the times the parents are able to do that. But there are other times when, the child disagrees and the child is fundamentally correct, and the parent, makes a mistake. So, I'm not saying that both things happen, and it's not always cut and dry. It's not always black and white. And just in general, with the mom reading the diary, again, ignoring what she does later, just in that snapshot moment with the mom reading the diary, I, of course, do not condone getting into your children's business. Like, when somebody has a diary, I had a diary, I had a journal. I actually just found my journal back when I was in middle school, and I was really struggling with my sexuality then, so I'm really curious to read it. I don't know if I even had the courage to even write about my sexuality in my journal. So Tyler is already better than me in that aspect, if he was able to do that back when he was 10, because I don't think I had that courage until I was well into high school, maybe even college, did I have the courage to actually be able to do anything like admitting to that in writing. So that is pretty sacred, and I think it's a pretty low thing for a parent to do, to, get into their children's private business, unless they believe that, ultimately their child is doing something that is causing harm to themselves. Like if they believe that their child is getting into drug abuse, alcohol abuse, if their child is getting involved with something that is associated with violence and may put their lives in fatal danger, etc., etc., etc. So where do you cross? Where's the line for that, right? Because there are many cases where, children, like teenagers, even young adults, get involved in those kind of things where those mistakes are permanent and sometimes fatal. And maybe it's really hard because maybe if they did have a diary and the parents did, bypass their privacy, maybe they could have saved, their child. So it's really tough. It's a really tough call. Obviously, I don't think that that's the case here, where they truly were trying to protect, Tyler from harm. I just think that the mother was very misguided, as many people from her generation are. That doesn't mean I condone it, but I understand it. And I at least can agree with the concept of trying to protect your child. I agree with the concept of at least that she believed, in her head at least, that it was the right thing to do, that she was willing to be the bad guy for the greater good to ultimately protect her child. Now, fast forwarding to later, of course, according to this beginning of the story, we find out that she allegedly had tried to kill her own child for trying to transition. And that's why Tyler ended up stabbing her as a 10-year-old because of self-defense and protection. And I can't even imagine that situation, being on either of their shoes, being in the mom's shoes or being on his shoes. Because, like I said, you're ultimately trying to protect your child. And I feel like protecting your child by trying to shoot your child is, as myself being a parent, obviously seems very counterintuitive. So, did their mom get sick sometime, like over time? Were there signs of her mom just being that psychologically, like, lost? I don't know. I really am. I don't know. There's just so many questions that I have right now, and I'm hoping the game will address them. So I don't know. I don't know where this plot's going. It's really fascinating to me, and I'm just
I should go check.
super. And Tyler is very eager for us to go downstairs, but I am not done with this yet.
One thing you gotta give Marianne is that she let us explore our artistic side.
You should have seen Eddie's face when I tried to repaint his car.
Yeah, I bet Uncle Eddie didn't appreciate your artistic touch.
I'd rather you called him Chief Brown if you're gonna be an ass about it.
Yeah.
So much for my dream of being a hockey star.
So I may.
Marianne thought sports were too aggressive, too competitive, and too group-thinky.
I am wondering if the Book of Goblins has any significance in the story. I normally would read it right this moment, but those of you who are watching may not be interested in it yet, and so I may save it. I may save that for another. I may save that for a separate video entirely, dedicated video entirely. I've got something. My spidey senses are tingling. Oh, the music can be super creepy.
The Ice King finally caught the hag. His furious voice could be heard throughout the forest. For your wickedness, you will be eternally bound to the lake. What? No way. Quiet, let me finish. You will no longer be allowed to leave. Not even under a full moon. The moon hag was imprisoned in the lake, and she never again tried to escape. And then the title. What do you think? Not bad, right?
I guess that's okay. But I would have changed the end.
What? No way.
The Ice King. I totally forgot about him.
That's because it was dangerous to mention his name. He was too powerful.
The Ice King. I'm wondering what's going to be the significance of all of these characters. The Ice King, the Hunter, the Bear, all of those characters. Is it going to be... There's got to be something going on there.
Hold up.
What?
It's locked.
Remember this?
Look at the
Unfortunately.
characters.
You must solve my riddle
Pelican.
to earn the right to enter the princess's sanctum.
Nothing a good hard shove won't take care of.
I mean, yes, we could brute force it, but it might be kind of fun to finally solve it, right?
We have different definitions of the word fun.
Okay, well, if we break it, we're just gonna have to fix it for the sale. So let's at least try not to. You have the Book of Goblins?
Yep.
Hand it over.
So do we have to read all of the
What
whole
are you
story?
looking for?
All of the stories?
The image on the door. It's making me think of a story from the book. One that Marianne wrote.
You have a way better memory than me.
Well, the Book of Goblins was my creation.
And you'll never let anyone forget it.
Which story?
Here it is. The one about the princess's party.
So I'll read that one. So maybe...
Give it a read. I think the
this-
symbols
each
may
story
represent
will-
something in the story.
So this is
First
cool.
ghost
So maybe
memories,
this each...
Now storybook puzzles. What a weird day.
What a weird childhood.
Touché.
So I have to read the story about... what was it? The story about which one? Book of Goblins. The story... The bear and the princess, the bee fixes the house, the princess's party. It's the party one, right? Is that what they were saying? Yes, I think it's the princess's party. Once upon a time, okay, this is super cool that the book is used maybe to solve certain puzzles in the story along the way. That's pretty cool. Once upon a time, in a deep and ancient forest, the princess was melancholy because it was the 1-year anniversary of when she had run away from home. Sensing her sadness, her forest friends showed up at her door. They were headed by the Pelican, pious and attentive, and organized by the Moose, stalwart and farsighted. The old bear was there, with his claws so sharp, as well as the bullfrog, prattling away. Even the haughty muskrat, who almost never had time for anyone, had come. The bear invited her to ride on his back, promising no wolf would harry her path, and then the animals led her to a fairy glen, where a fabulous party had been prepared. There was a buffet of seafood the pelican had served from her never-emptying beak. The air was filled with winking fairy lights the moose had arranged after clouds filled the sky, and the gregarious frog mixed up fizzing drinks. Only the muskrat had done nothing in particular, mooching off everyone else's hard work. The princess had a very good time at her party, such a good time that she forgot to say thank you to any of her friends. Noticing this, the fairies devised a bit of mischief. When the princess went to open her gifts, she found 3 identical boxes at the edge of the glen. Puzzled, she turned back and gasped. The entire party had vanished. "Because you have taken your friends for granted," called the naughty fairies. "We have hidden them from you. But we like games. Guess who has given you each of these presents, and you'll get your friends back." So is it these 3? The torch, the sword, and the money? The princess opened the first box. Inside there was a torch, which, when lit, revealed the truth. Said the princess. "Someone wants to make sure I don't get lost in the woods when it's dark, and that I always see right from wrong. Which of my friends would give me a gift like that?" She opened the second box. Inside there was a magic sword, which would leap right out of the bear's hands to defend them. Said the princess. "Someone wants to make sure I am protected if I'm under a threat. Which of my friends would give me a gift like that?" She opened the third box. Inside there was a bag of coins that always provided money if it was for something the bear truly needed. I could use lots of these gifts. I probably would... Wow. Said the princess. "Someone wants to make sure I have money to buy food and I'm hungry, and clothes when I'm cold. Which of my friends would give me a gift like that?" I'm wondering if any of you guys had a choice between any of those 3 gifts, which one would you choose? I feel like the one, for my current situation, and I say current situation, I think the one that would actually be the most useful to me would be the first one. Would be always, which always revealed the truth. Because the second one is useful, but I don't see myself needing to defend myself every day. However, one could argue that one time, that one moment where you do need to defend yourself, as situational as it can be, that could be like well worth it. But and then the other one is the money. Always provide money if it was something the bear truly needed. Well, I don't need. That's the thing. I think that currently I am comfortable. Like I'm able to fulfill my basic needs. That's what I'm thinking is meant by that. I think that currently I'm able to have enough to fulfill my basic needs. In which point, I don't think the money bag would ever provide me with any money unless something unfortunate happened about my situation. So it would be the first one. The princess thought about her friends, and then she smiled certainly. Fairy, she said, I may have been thoughtless, but I appreciate that all my friends have given to me and all they have done for me. I appreciate all that my friends have given to me and all that have done for me. She gave her answers, and the vexed fairies were forced to restore the party in a flash of colored light. One by one, she gave the animals a hug and thanked them for their presence, the party, and all they had done to help since she'd moved into the forest. And that is how the princess celebrated her first anniversary in the woods. So let's go over each of the different characters. They were headed by the pelican, pious and attentive and organized. Pious and attentive, and organized by the moose. Stalwart and farsighted, the old bear was there, with his claws so sharp, as well as the big frog, prattling away. Even the haughty muskrat, who almost had never had time for anyone, had come. The bear invited to ride on his back, promising no wolf would harry her path. So the bear right off the bat is very protective. I'm thinking the bear is the one that had the sword. I'm thinking, just based on what I've read so far. And then animals led her to a fairy glen, where a fabulous party had been prepared. There was a buffet of seafood from the pelican, and had served from her never-emptying beak. So the pelican seems to be like providing her with food. And so I'm wondering if the pelican is the one that provided the gold. The air was filled with winking fairy lights the moose had arranged after clouds filled the sky, and the gregarious frog mixed up fizzing drinks. Only the muskrat had done nothing in particular, mooching off everyone's hard work. Okay, so I've got the pelican as the gold. The bear had the sword. But who did the torch? We have the pelican, okay, organized by the moose, stalwart and far-sighted. Far-sighted. Maybe that's what's implying the torch? As well as the big frog prattling away. Even the haughty muskrat almost had never time for anyone had come. The moose had arranged after clouds. See, the moose seems to be the only one who like would have provided her with the gift. It seems like the muskrat's just there to crash and like reap off the benefits of everybody else's hard work. So I don't see the muskrat as being particularly generous. I don't see the muskrat is having a gift in the first place. Then you go to the frog, and so far the frog is like talkative and prattling away, or the gregarious frog is just mixing up fizzing drinks. Which none of that to me gives any like hint as to what the torch is doing. However, we have the moose who is farsighted. Like they can see, like the torch lights the way. And again, the moose just seems to be very involved in this party. So I see between the frog and the moose, it's most likely for the moose to have given a gift. So I'm gonna try moose, bear, and pelican and see. Moose, bear. We'll see if it works in my first try. Got it. My first try. Crafty goblins. This is cool. I'm loving this. This is a really neat way to solve puzzles, is with that storybook. The Book of Goblins.
And boom, we're in.
We're in. I thought this place had no electricity. Well, I guess they did have electricity. They mentioned something about, I don't know, somebody mentioned something about having no electricity. So it's pretty. So this is the
After
princess's
so many
room
years,
or their
I
mom's
expected
room.
this to feel more, you know, like a win.
Speak for yourself. I'm the one who solved the riddle.
Why do I feel like you're
In the
not gonna
first
let me
try,
forget that?
Tyler. She was the one who pointed out the story, though, so she gave us. She
Where do you
gave
think
us
we
an
should start
assist.
looking?
I don't know. Where in this mess would she stash someone else's personal thoughts?
It's a good question. Where indeed?
Straight in the trash?
No, I bet we could sell it on the internet.
True. Maybe we could sell it to the guy who collects John Wayne Gacy's clown paintings.
It's cute. It's them as children.
I tried to read this one. I could never figure out the order of the chapters, though.
Didn't the author go insane or something? No wonder Marianne liked it.
The order of the chapters. Timeless Sea, Stephen Orchard. Is that a real book? That's fascinating if the chapters are not in the correct order.
Sewing lessons were the absolute worst.
She made all our clothes. I'm sure she needed the help. And I, for one, am happy I can fix a torn seam.
Yeah, there's
So she
definitely
was
something.
standing here, spying through the window, drawing us while we played.
She always had her eye on us.
My entire body just
Yeah.
shivered.
She
Oh,
and
this was
Tessa were
turned
best
down.
friends.
Ah,
Until suddenly
Tessa.
they weren't. Wonder what happened.
Either Tessa got sick of Marianne's moods, or Marianne got sick of Tessa's judgment.
interesting. Tessa. That's another name that I've heard many times. I'm wondering if we're going to meet her. Most likely. Is this where it is?
It's
Diary. I'll put it. Hold on. Before I get it. Sorry, don't take the straight path.
She always
We're
had
the
to have a
gays, we
picture
don't
of
take the
us
straight
close
path.
by.
Why this picture, though? I mean, do you see the expression on our faces?
Oh, this explains a lot.
They're mostly full. She was too stubborn to take medication.
So she was sick. And she had medication, but she wasn't using it. Okay. The wise princess. Remember.
I just can't get through. Whatever's going on, they won't let me in. They used to tell me everything, but they shut me out, Tessa. They've shut me out. I've had so
Is this
much on
our
the
memory?
plate lately,
Or her memory?
and they're convinced I'm the enemy, and I don't know why. I need them.
I have a
I
feeling.
need my goblins.
I remember now. We heard her crying. We listened through the door.
Seeing her like this. As if she's still here. It's...
It really sucks.
She was really coming apart those last few months, wasn't she?
I have a feeling there's more to this story than what we saw in the opening sequence. I have a feeling that it's not that straightforward. But we'll see. I'm very, very intrigued right now. All right, now we can take our diary.
I knew it.
See,
I fucking knew it.
Do you think she read it?
Of course. She was nosy as hell.
what did it say? Well, of course, now we're being nosy. Raising your transgender child. So she was reading about it? Virtue Seekers Youth Camp, presents by the Alliance for Traditional Families. Presented by Alliance for Traditional Families? So... she was reading...
Tyler. Tyler,
What?
Look,